you don't really know what's going to happen.
We want to make sure that everyone can be chasing that American dream.
Sometimes the only way to succeed is just to not give up. Now they know
The other side. Okay, today's topic, what is it?
episode 4,
Episode 4.
pros and cons of having a business partner. Yeah. All right, let's see what you got.
To be fair, I think you do a great job opening it up, but the point I'm just saying, this is why I said you're good at the strength and we have a good thing. So that's my whole point. Okay, well, if you're tuning in right now, you'll already understand our next episode on episode number 4, the love and hate relationship of a business partner. I can't even start it. Oh, God. Too much pressure on me now. I didn't get time to prepare. Okay, let's try it again. Take 37. Once again, thank you for saying once again. This is why you start the fucking podcast. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. It's just it's just funny.
All right, I'll start.
God damn it. Oh, it's like I make your point at the same time.
All right, here we go.
Get it now.
I got you.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, episode 4, the Quattro.
Yes.
The Quattro.
Yes.
On episode 4 of The Other Side with Mike and Nathan, it is a 2-person podcast so far.
Yes.
Eventually we'll have a guest or 2. But for right now, we're just entertaining ourselves.
Yeah.
We enjoy it. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of having a business partner.
Yes.
And we have agreed that no matter what we say, we're not going to have hurt feelings today.
Not hurt feelings.
But we might have to take some time apart.
Yeah.
Daddy's got to go away for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
I love you. I hate you. Pros and cons of a business partner. We talk about this a lot because we've talked, you and I have talked a lot about, I don't know how anybody could do this on their own.
Correct.
And yet we see it happen all the time that people are on their own and they have to do everything. They have to do all the social media. They have to do the marketing. They have to do the sales. They have to do the accounting, the finances, the hiring, the firing, like until they're able to grow a business where they can afford to hire people to do those things. They have to do everything.
Correct. They're wearing 20 hats all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
And so we've found that there's certainly some advantages and synergy in having a business partner, somebody to go through things with. It just makes it a lot easier. There's days where you just don't have it, and so you can rely on your business partner. And then there's days where you're like, I don't know if I really want to have a business partner anymore.
Yes.
Like and everything in between, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So talk to us. Let's talk about that a little bit today.
Yeah.
Talking to us, me. Let's talk about that. I see what you mean.
Yeah, you're starting to pick it up now.
The truth. You guys want to talk about the other side? Let's talk about the other side of the podcast real quick. I have learned that in the first few episodes, I have made it sound like it's my podcast and Mike is the guest on the podcast. Our producer has said that. Mike has said that. And so I am eating some humble pie and realizing that I did it on accident. And I'm sorry, Mike.
It is okay. I forgive you. I think that it's just really funny. It's really funny.
So now it's going to come up and everybody can just laugh at me. It's going to be great.
It's all good. So I am not a guest on the podcast. I want to be very clear. I am a co-owner with Nathan Gantz on the business. It's in the fucking documents and lawyer work we have. I'll pull out the receipts to show you. We've definitely gone through our struggles. It's man.
Dude, that is so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Well,
let's talk about it.
This is going to be an interesting one.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Let's talk together
about it as business partners. How our journey is
pros
going.
And cons of having a business partner.
Yes. I will say right off the bat, though, I will 100% acknowledge that you are phenomenal as a host. You are a phenomenal speaker. You are a phenomenal at making everything feel like it's just yours. Just kidding.
You're really good at making me feel fake involved.
Yeah. Oh God. No, you are really good at speaking. You are really good at hosting. I mean, it's your background, right? I mean, you're a great leader.
I honestly love it.
You've been a great leader. For those who don't know, Nathan used to be a pastor for how long? For 7 years or 9 years?
Yeah, it's 8.5, 9 years.
8.5, 9 years he's a pastor. Yeah. So he was up speaking and like all eyes on him. He was leading, mentoring. Like he was amazing at what he does, which is why that's one of his strengths, which again is, in my opinion, I'll start off with a pro on being in business, is one of my, I would say not so much strengths. It's not necessarily a weakness. It's just a strength I don't have as well as you do, is leading and taking control, I guess, in a certain direction. I've told you from day one in episode 1 that I'm a workhorse. You tell me what to do, where to go, and I'll fucking do it. And I'll give it 100%. So I'm okay letting you lead most of this stuff. I just think it's funny that sometimes you may not see it. And I just...
It's true.
Yes.
Hey, correction received.
Yeah. So we're totally fine on that. And I love that about you.
That's the way shit goes.
I love that about you. We get it. And I mean, another, you don't want to be at the fucking yacht at 3 a.m. partying with a business owner that you met during COVID.
That honestly sounds horrible.
Yeah. See, so I mean, like we both fit into our pros or strengths and not so much strengths. Or I wouldn't call them weaknesses because they're just things they're not the best at, but it's not weakness.
Yeah.
Would you consider that a weakness? If I mean, like I can speak, I can be in front of people.
No.
I just don't. It's just not something I am as good as you are.
You can be good at something and not excel at it.
Okay.
Thank you. And I think you're really good at speaking. Yeah. I think that I've just done it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just have different styles and different ways, which is something that, we've gone through a lot in the vision of the company, where we want to go, what our ideas were. And it's the one thing I will say just right off the bat for people who are going to business with someone, if you are into partnership with someone, whether it be a relationship or a business or a friendship, for us, our end goal has always been pretty rock clear.
Very much so.
Rock solid.
Yeah.
How we get there, it's almost like we're climbing this mountain and different sides of the mountain. I'm like, you didn't see the 30 fucking rocks I just went through? Oh no. I didn't know there's a whole nother path you could take, right? It's just we're seeing different things in different ways, but we both always know that the end goal is going to be the same. So it helps us start a conversation that way.
Right.
Knowing that we want the same thing in the end.
Right.
How we get there will just be a little different and how we think of things.
Yeah. One of the interesting things about our friendship and business partnership is we view things from a different angle, but we ultimately see them the same.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we might both see a particular interaction with a client.
Yeah.
And both of us know something's a little weird about it, or something's not adding up, or an issue with an employee or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And you might find something different about it that bothers you and something different than that bothers me, but we both know that something's weird.
Yeah. Agreed. We see it very similarly, but we are definitely coming at it from a different perspective or a different angle.
Yeah.
Which has helped us a lot in the business because, again, like if you don't have that open eye or the third, or the second voice, you may just be running blindly into what you think is the right way, and nobody has the balls or the courage to be able to say, hey, I don't see it this way. This is how I'm looking at it. Right. And you just had the blinders on, unintentionally running forward in a direction that may not be the best.
I don't like how much eye contact you had with me when you said that. That was weird.
When I put the fingers?
You're like,
wait.
I don't like the way you're going.
I don't like where we're going
I was like,
at all.
I was like, oh, well, yeah. Okay.
No, now you're thinking about the whole podcast, but that's okay.
I'm thinking about all the things I could possibly be doing wrong.
Exactly.
And I'm fidgety and I'm antsy, and that's how shit goes.
But I think that's the whole point of the podcast.
We're going to have grit, though. We're going to get through it. We're going to
go through as many ceilings as we can.
Just really ram through it. Okay. Yeah.
But I think that's the whole point of the podcast, honestly, right? It's to pull back the curtains and show, like, this is the kind of shit that comes up. It's not all perfect. We had an idea of where we wanted to go with this podcast, but it's going to start right at the beginning of like just what just happened.
Brutally honest about what actually just happened.
Exactly. So a lot of people are like, oh, that's so cool that you guys came up to this solution. I like where you guys are going. But little do they know, we just had a little tiffy fit about it, like, 30 minutes before we went on.
And it was a funny one. Like, it was good, but it was a genuine correction. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. I did do that. My bad.
Yeah. So it's all good.
Whatever.
We again, I know his heart, I know the intentions, and I know where we're going together. So I let it slide because it doesn't bother me that much because my ego is out of the way.
Wow, Mike.
I know I said that a little directly to you. My bad.
I'm just going to look this way. I'm going to work through this way through this entire podcast. All right. So obviously what you just said is important. That
Thank you.
That part of the benefit of having a business partner is choosing a business partner who's good at things that you're not great at.
Correct.
Right. And so in being able to marry those two things together. So you and I have done like several personality exams. We've worked with executive coaching. We've done things like that. And every time we take a personality exam, what do they tell us?
Yeah. They always say, did you guys know you guys are like the perfect fit for each other?
These are like exact opposite.
Yeah.
You're like two sides of a cracked egg.
Exactly.
Oh, no shit. Really.
Yeah. It's funny because we've had a lot of people pitch these to us. So we actually go through them because it would help us internally figure out how to hire people and where to put people and stuff like that. But they don't know, the people who are selling us this don't know we've done this process 3 or 4 times. Right. So it is really funny to hear the end result. Every time we take the test, we don't tell them we've done it before. They all come back super surprised, like, this is amazing. I've never seen this. We literally just said it like we're in sync all the time.
Because it's what they say.
Yeah, I've never seen it. This is amazing. You guys should be like together. And then most people don't have that, because most two entrepreneurs usually have their own visions, their own strengths, their own like where they want the things to go.
They're
and
two attorneys. They're two artists. They're two whatever. Like they have kind of the same vibe, the same opinions, and same feelings, the same personalities. And you and I are both boisterous and rather happy and energetic people.
Yeah,
but that's about it. There's a personality. Everything else, our personality is wildly different. For example, you just said you would love to be at 2-3 a.m. with a potential client on a yacht, and I'm like, bro, I'm asleep. There's no way. It's just not happening.
Yeah, but that's again the strengths that have built this company to where it needs to go, is because we just focus on that and we don't fight about it, because we both understand and love our strengths, and we just let each other do them.
Yeah. Do you think that's the biggest pro of having a business partner, is that you get help in things that you're not good at?
Yes.
I think so too.
100%. But it feels weird because like it does feel weird because we just brought this up right beforehand. It's like, it's not that I don't try, or I just don't need to, because in like you say, I know I need to if I had to. But why would I do it if you're just so damn good at it, like let you run with it?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I could try and take over the podcast, and act like you're on my show and, talk about that. But as
with
we just
Mike and Nathan.
Yeah, with Mike and Nathan. Exactly. But we just saw, I'm sure you'll see the blooper reels. I suck at that. I tried to start the podcast for 20 minutes before we started actually going. Eventually I said, dude, I'm not good at this shit.
We're like, well, you started that and it just didn't go.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because I'm not as good at it. But I also don't have
sweating.
Exactly. I also don't have an ego for the fact that I'm like, in the sense, in mind, I'm just saying for me that I know I'm not good at that.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Exactly. So I let you run with it. So I don't care. I don't need to be the center of attention. I'm like that. I'm the center of attention 90% of the company anyway. Wink, wink. I'm just kidding. Face of the company.
I just think if you don't care about who gets the credit, you can get a lot more done.
Exactly. And again, it's the end vision. We know where we're going. We're building this for content for you guys, in the sense of for you guys to understand our other side of the journey, to not feel alone, and to really know that, this isn't just fucking sunshines and rainbows the whole time.
No. It'd be nice.
It would. Can we just get a break for a fucking day?
I don't even know if it's sunny outside. We haven't seen outside in many hours.
Yeah, we
got new shirts on, so that's great. Okay, so there's benefits.
Correct.
And there's hurdles.
Yes.
With having business partners.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some examples of times for you and me that you felt like being a business partner with me was like a hurdle?
I think for me, it was some of the hurdles I've seen on you. Again, it's more of or for us just in general, it's the message and the branding aspect of where our personalities may clash.
Oh, totally.
That's always been
that's our number one area, I think, where we don't agree.
Yeah. So again, I'm very extroverted. Nathan's introverted, extroverted, or whatever that word's called.
Yeah, I'm in the middle. So when we do those things,
the
personality exams and stuff like that. The first one we did, they came back and they talked about introverted, extroverted, and yours was 98% extroverted.
Correct.
98%. Which is insane. Which means that you get all your fuel from being around people, from engaging with people, talking with people, and that's plain and obvious for everybody to see.
And that's great for you.
That's really wonderful. Like,
I love that for you.
I'm really happy to have you here. It's really
thanks for coming on the show. glad you could come to my office today.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming to my office. I really appreciate it.
Do you like my table?
Do you like the book I wrote? 10%.
Oh my god, dude, that's so funny.
You can turn the AC on again, man.
We were just saying.
It's the branding, branding and marketing, and the extroverted, introverted, all that.
Yeah, branding and marketing. So you want everything to be loud and aggressive and in your face, and I'm like, dude, like a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah,
and I'm not. I'm one of them that doesn't. Like, I don't like. I don't like that level of showmanship.
Yeah,
I also don't think that it doesn't work. I just don't prefer it, and I don't think that that's how we should present our brand. And that is something that you and I have disagreed on for a long time. And so it's one of those things that we are currently like talking about the other side of the, like, behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Like what we're currently doing is we've hired a company to help us figure this out, because
Correct.
If Mike and I can't come to an agreement on everything that we think it should look like, then we've got to find another voice that we can both agree that we will listen to.
Yep. Exactly. And again, both our egos are out of the way on this one, because it's one of my favorite things that you've brought up to my attention a while ago. Actually, we both found, I think it was on Gary V's.
Oh yeah, I know exactly.
Thing, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So the whole thing was, it doesn't matter if I like the loud, crazy, in your face kind of stuff. Doesn't matter if you like more the corporate, like, pleasantry, like look at the, I don't know how to not make it sound like, yeah, it's like
flowers.
How do I say like the boring side of shit?
Foliage. Yeah. And muted tones.
Exactly, the calmer side of things. the more I would say, like,
you make me sound so boring.
No, I don't know how to do it, dude. I'm sorry. I'm trying. It's really hard not to like you can have this, or you can have this. We're two sides of a Kit Kat, man. I'm telling you, like the caramel chocolate. We still fucking taste delicious. That's what we say. Turn the fucking AC on, man. It's hot. I'm sweating now. This is episode 4 is like that one, dude. Jesus. Two sides of a Kit Kat. We taste great.
Gary V's point was, if he was like an A&R for a record label, and he had to find new talent, and that was his goal, was to find new talent. He said the biggest mistake he could make would be to look and go to a concert, watch the band, and give his opinion on the band. He said the smartest thing I could do would be go to the front of the auditorium, get as close to the stage as I can, and turn around and look at the audience. Because what matters is, what do they think about this band?
Yes.
And I've found you and I have done, I think, a pretty good job of listening to what's valuable, because when we listen, we find that what's valuable to our clients was not what we thought was valuable.
And that goes back to the very beginning of being a consulting firm to a bookkeeping firm.
Very beginning. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I would have never thought that this would have been what our clients would have wanted.
Exactly.
Never. That's just how it is.
Yeah. So again, we're practicing what we preach through and throughout these podcasts. Again, we're just telling our side and our journey, how it happened, but that is 100% correct. We had this vision for Northwest Premier, and it is completely almost like not a 180, but it's definitely pivoted multiple times to get to where it's at today. And it's because we listened to our clients and the needs. Right? What was your experience with bookkeepers? All these things they didn't like. So let's solve that problem. Right?
Right.
And we wanted to be like the one-stop shop. The last year, everyone's saying, we really wish you would start filing taxes. We really wish you would do this. Like, we wish, this is what we loved about it. So let's freaking pivot. Let's pivot again and add more. So it's always listening to the audience and what works for them. And that's what's made our partnership so much, I would just say flourish is what I was going to say. Like, flourish over the years is because we have learned to really take our own opinions out more than not listening to the clients, I guess.
Yeah, and I think we also try to do that with each other. Oh, you know what I mean? Though, like you gotta listen to each other too, because there's times, especially with employees, where Mike's like, Nathan, you're not listening to me. Yeah. Like, this is not working. The way that you're handling the situation is not going to fly. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can be all high and mighty, be like, no, I know I can do it. And then sometimes it goes bad. And then I've just learned over the years to be like, if you feel like you have to bring something up to me, it's important.
Yeah.
Because you don't bring up just random shit. So one of the big pros for me in having a business partner is that you're like the most trustworthy feedback that I can possibly get of what's happening in our business, because you're in it with me and I'm in it with you. Like, there's no difference. Like, we're both in the trenches together. Right. So it's like, if there's anybody who you could trust, it's the person that's in the fucking arena with you, that's doing the work with you. The people that are outside of the arena, I mean, it's like you're talking about the last show. It's like, you got to put your blinders on, right? Because it's like, they're not even, that you can't really trust their opinion or their judgment on it, because they're not in it with you.
Agreed.
And there's obviously, we have a board of advisors, and we do listen to people who aren't in the arena with us to get some context.
But they're people who've done it.
But they're people who have done it. And so it's not, there might not be in our business, but they've grown successful businesses way beyond what we've done. And we want to learn and listen to those people.
Exactly.
We've also listened to those people, and it's not gone well.
Correct.
There's been things that we've decided, like financial decisions we made listening to our board of advisors, that didn't go out, and we trusted them and it didn't work out. We didn't think that, we weren't mad at the board of advisors. We just took that as data. It's like, okay, it was good input. We kept moving. We tried something. It didn't work. Let's go do something different.
Yep.
Not everybody's going to be right all the time. It's just not going to happen. So one of the big pros for me is just having a sounding board, that I can really trust.
Yeah.
And over the years, you and I, know each other so well. It's like we almost finish each other's
sentences. Okay, I thought you were going to say sandwiches. I had a 50-50 shot there. So you've done that to me before.
I considered it. That was funny. I was like, is he going to say it with me or not? Okay.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's probably the greatest pro. I would say secondarily to that is you just have somebody you can talk to honestly about everything.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think a lot of business partners actually have that. I think that's a really unique thing. And I think it's something that if somebody's considering going into business with somebody, one of the first things I would ask of that person is this somebody I would trust with any conversation?
Yeah.
Any conversation. Because I can't think of a single conversation that I wouldn't be willing to have with you.
Yeah.
I just can't think of one.
Yeah. And it is hard. Also too, because it's, again, my biggest struggle for having a business partner is the fear of letting you down too. So those conversations are harder for me to have because I know if it's like,
I don't really give a shit because our personalities are different. I'm like, oh, I'm going to screw up sometimes, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you just say,
I do care. That's a little harsh.
Yeah. Well, I know you care, but it's just like, it's hard for me because I don't want to let you down either. So like, that was always been my struggle is like, if I screw up, I feel like, anytime I've ever screwed up in my past, like my parents or whatever, it would be more of like a repercussion with it, or like it'd be super disappointment or words like it's just like I really let them down. I don't like laying people down.
Yeah.
So I've always I never had a role model or someone as much as I could trust in a business partnership, but I never really got a chance to test those waters until I've done it and tested waters with you, but I'm just saying I never had that. I never got to try that before.
Right. It's a very unique relationship.
Yeah. Well, it's like, okay, you say you love me. It's like you say you love me and you trust me. But what if I did this and I told you this? Would you really still trust me and love me?
Yeah.
It's like,
would you still date me if I was a quadriplegic?
Yes.
One of those.
Exactly. So it's like, I just wanted to be very careful on that. So it's made us both grow super, really well. I mean, it's really, we are really in a partnership.
Oh,
we are.
We're in more of a marriage than most marriages.
Yeah, exactly.
We have more paperwork than most marriages. That's for sure.
Yeah. So it is going into business relationship with this or with somebody. If you are thinking of going into business with someone, really understand it truly is like a fucking marriage, man. You are legally in it. You have your finances right on their finances. And it's a brothership and a brotherhood that you probably won't get anywhere else unless in business world. Unless, some people get it, people who are in the military, people who are, growing up with sports and stuff like that. Like when you go through those hard days of 2-a-days, I'm just relating to sports because that's what I can relate to. When you go through those 2-a-days and the sweats and the wins and the losses and all that shit. Yes, I'd fucking say it, Nathan.
What?
Are you going to say something? Are you had something smart to say?
I did. I'm just going to let it go.
I can feel it.
I don't understand sports.
Yeah.
I've never done sports. Because this is what I relate to.
Racquetball doesn't count. But just kidding. Racquetball's a sport.
Racquetball doesn't count.
Yeah, polo doesn't count.
It's badminton.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's like, but people who've gone through that shit, like you were mentioning earlier, people have gone through the trenches, the 2-a-days, the losses, the wins, the practices, the film days, the workouts. Like you're gonna have to go through all that shit with them. Yeah. So is it somebody you're willing to fucking go through shit with, and then also ride those highs with? Right. And we've seen a lot of people who have in business who unfortunately grow apart. Right.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. There's either they grow apart and or the visions clash and they're just where the direction they want to go is not the same. And there's two alphas or two people with the same personality traits that aren't a good fit. And that's why our personality traits in doing that test really did solidify the fact that our partnership is a good one.
Do you think people need to be as opposite as we are to make it work?
Can I put an Uno reverse card on that and ask you that question? Because I generally don't have an answer for that. Do you feel like that question?
Say it exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Uno reverse. Can you tell me that two people with the same personality? Do you think they could make it work?
Yes. I think that they have to be very transparent with one another, and they have to hire very well.
Yeah.
They have to hire very well.
And quickly, I would imagine.
If you have two people who are great at sales and they're very gregarious and they're very outgoing and they just go out and you have your two 98% extroverts.
Yeah.
You better have the fucking best admin you've ever seen in your life and you better pay them very well.
Agreed. I
think you just can't do it, the two of you. You have to include other people at some level.
Yeah. You got to build a team.
I think you got to build a team.
Yeah. And I think just being very open, like not delegating, like again, the list of 10 things as a business owner that you have to do. You can't just divvy those up and say, okay, I'll take these 5, you take these 5 with 298% extroverts, because they're going to not be as, they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to do this because I have to, but they're not going to like doing it. And that's just going to
cause all kinds of problems.
You get to do all the fun stuff and I have to do this shit and I have to figure out and learn it. And like, well, yeah, it's just, it's going to cause a lot of problems. And I think my old supervisor, I'll give a little credit to this guy too, because he explained to me very well. His name is Kevin. It was an old supervisor at Natural Foods. And he said, because I was like one of the faster, Tyler Eccles, if you're listening to this, by the way, I was the fastest picker in the freezer, by the way.
401k
yeah,
Tyler?
Yeah, 401k Tyler. So Tyler, I was the fastest picker.
Yeah, he was, Tyler. Tyler, you watching this? He was the fastest picker of all time.
So in our group of 4, right, I was like,
you doubt him.
5 to 4 to 6 people in our crew. And I was like, there's some people just didn't, there was some guy who's really good at stacking boxes and making the pallets look good. I was the guy, if it wasn't for saran wrap, they would never last it on the truck.
Just bumping and riding.
Yeah, but I was hitting the highest quote. I was hitting the highest numbers. I was killing and stuff. And then I was trying to lead these guys, and like I'd motivate them just by yelling at them, like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, come on, let's go. I want to go the fuck home. Let's get this shit going." But Kevin said, "Mike, can you imagine? There's 9 of you in there. Like, there's no, or 6 of you guys of you in there. Absolutely not. You guys would be fighting over shit. You guys like we get mad at each other. They push you. It would be done fast.
It'd be horrible.
But the way you're wrapping your pallets, it wouldn't fit in the fucking truck. We can afford 2 or 3 of your fucking shitty pallets being made. We need people like this. We need people like other people. You need to build a team," because he was in the military. He's like, you need to have a good communications guy. You need to have like the guy who's just going to run in there and fucking blast things up. You have to have the guy who's going to be specialized in like, like I said, tech or like the sniper or whatever. You have to have different people and different strengths on that team to run as cohesively as you really want to in order to hit the goal.
Yeah.
Because 5 mics would be a disaster.
Yeah.
You all would. So there would be no game plan, and we'd just run in there, guns blazing, and it was like, oh shit, nobody.
You'd get a world record in how many pallets you did, and the place would look like shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Nothing would fit in the truck. The profit margins would be so shrunk because they're like, we could fit 5 of Mike's pallets on the truck when normally we could fit 30.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, I think that's a good example. It just feels like when people go into business with other people, I think they underplay the importance of who that person is. Yeah. That just, one of the biggest mistakes I see from entrepreneurs is they bring on business partners just because they need money.
Yeah.
Man, it's just a recipe for disaster. One of the cons I think of having a business partner in that regard too is that you're accountable. Like you can't just do whatever you want. Like part of the beauty, I think, of being a solopreneur, like you being on your own, is you get to make decisions quickly and decisively, whether it's financial or whether it's about products and services or pricing or strategies or marketing. You get to move at a lightning speed. We move relatively quickly, but it's much slower because we have to make those decisions together.
Correct.
And that's not a negative thing as a have to. That's that's what we do. Like we can't. I don't think we've ever made a major decision on our own.
No.
Not once.
Not once on our own. There's always been like, it's even you just have somebody else you're always thinking about. Like I said, you are in a relationship. It's like you're mentioning.
Are you saying you always think about me?
I do all the time. Every morning I wake up, I'm like, fuck, what is Nathan saying? Just saying. I'm just kidding. You're right. Like we do make these big decisions together. But having a business partner makes you think about even the smaller decisions, right? I mean, like I was just talking to a real estate agent the other day, and I was talking about I'm going to buy another bike next year.
Yeah,
right. I was going to buy it. I have it right now,
like, R6 or whatever.
Yeah. So right now I have a 2023 Vulcan 650S, and yes, you sweating a little bit over there?
Oh my, I know. Yeah.
So
had to get a little refresher there.
The next bike I want to get is an R6, and this guy was like, "Oh, that's awesome! You can just ride it off too, right?" And I was like, "Well, no." I was like, he's like, "Well, isn't it marketing?" I'm like, "Yeah," but in my head, I'm like, I know now the difference between what is going to actually help our business grow versus what's actually grow versus what is more of a personal use. And I mean, I know damn well what I'm using that bike for is personal use. You don't want me marketing that bike out with Northwest Mirror freaking gear, doing what I'm doing on the bike. So I want that as far away as possible. I don't want
you wearing a branded sweatshirt, not a branded helmet, nothing. I'm like, you're on your own, buddy.
Yeah, so on that.
And so make sure your life insurance is paid. Thank you.
So it's just easier for me to make those decisions. Even I used to like, if you own your own business, you can write off. I mean, you could write off the bike if you want. You can justify it as marketing. You could go out on a date and literally use a business card and just find a way to justify that as marketing. But I know damn well if I'm on a date or if I'm actually, or if this is really going to help our business or not. And I think that's something with a partnership that's good because the money's always going in the right place too. Because if you're on your own and you can, again, going back to the last episode, you will sell yourself on how you can justify this as a business write-off, and you may not be spending the money appropriately. Versus us, we both are like, okay, we know our personal side, but if the money's being spent from the business, it has to be making the business better.
So the pro in that is that there's accountability and safeguards for you financially. The con is that you might not be as tax efficient as you'd want to be. You might not be able to write off as much as you would maybe be a little more aggressive if you were on your own.
Exactly.
Or, be a little bit more creative in the way that you're using your business funds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that I would say, it's a pro because the money's being delegated more appropriately. You can call it a con because you can't be as aggressive on the write-offs, or in the sense of like justify your spending habits for business.
Right. Yeah. We don't spend business money on our personal vacations.
Correct.
Unless
you lose a business card, or unless you lose your debit card.
Lose your debit card. Hypothetically, if that were to happen,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my bad.
Like, oh, hey, yeah, no worries, my bad. Yeah, that totally happens. I like when business owners have partners in the business. It gives me more confidence in that business.
Yeah.
Unless it's a very unique individual who I just think has got some serious capacity. I think most people would be better off with a business partner. Do you think so too?
I don't know. Again, it's like you have to be okay putting another person on, nuts on the line.
Yeah.
Pretty much is what I'm trying to say. It's like it's because you are thinking now about the other person.
Right.
It's almost like the same reason why I like to ride my motorcycle by myself. I don't really want to have anybody riding on the back because I'm now responsible for somebody else based on my decisions.
That's why you've never invited me for a ride.
That's exacly why. As much as I wanted to.
That's the only reason.
Yeah,
There's nothing to do with the weight limit or anything.
Exactly. No. It'd be beautiful to have you on the back, but that's I just don't want to put your life any more danger than it already is.
I don't want it either.
So that's the best example I can use is like when I'm riding the bike, it's me, my decisions, whatever happens is on my accord, even though I know I'm not responsible for cars and other things, what they do, but it's my decision to do what I want to do. If you're on the back, you have no control. I have to think about what you're doing. And if something happens, it was because of me. Right. In the end, even though like, they could have sat differently or whatever help. I'm like, no, I was on the bike. I made the decision to do this. Something happened. I feel responsible. So it is very nice to ride on your own. But at the same time, if you do go into business, know you are putting someone on the back of your bike and you got to look out for them just as much as you are for yourself.
Yeah.
So
you just ride differently.
Yeah, exactly. You ride differently. I wouldn't be doing what I do with a person on my back versus if I was by myself. I just think twice about what I'm doing, which is what we do together. I just think twice versus, okay, should I spend this money or should I make this decision? How's it going to impact this person? And it takes me a while to think that way at the beginning, but it's just getting easier and easier the more we're going through because I've seen impacts of like both sides. So, it's like, okay, I can't trust this person because we went through this hard time. He did accept me for this part of things I screwed up on.
Dude, we've been through some challenging days with that kind of stuff too. Like, I mean, these are all like hypothetical, theoretical situations, but I remember you and I've been on walks and be like, dude, I don't know how to do this anymore. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I think that we're like not communicating well, or we're not like on the same page about stuff that's important. And it has taken a lot of conversations and a lot of like really seeking to understand where other people are coming from and what we're doing to make sure that like this is something we continue to want to be able to build together.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I do think that puts it can be a pro and a con. It's like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. But again, the pro is, again, when you go through those hard times, you have somebody you can lean on too. I mean, there's plenty of times.
Keep you accountable. You can lean on. You can get help. Yeah.
And if you take a vacation, you know that I can run the ship for while you're gone for a little bit. If I take a vacation, it's the same thing.
I remember there's some times too. Like I remember there was just times when I was going through some of the more difficult mental health stuff that I went through, where I just had days where I'm like, Mike, I can't do it today, and you're like, dude, I got you. Like I'm like. That was just a fucking game changer.
Yeah.
To just know that, like, dude, if I was doing this on my own or you were doing this on your own and we didn't have the ability to just be like, have somebody be like, I got you. Don't worry about it. Take a day to yourself. Go to the beach, get rejuvenated. Cause me, like, I got to get alone. Like, I got to get, I need some private time. Like, one of the big frustrations for me just in life is that I just don't get a lot of alone time and I crave it so badly. Like I just don't get a lot.
Yeah.
It's just not how it is. And I know it's for a season that will change over time because I just know that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And it was and is wildly refreshing to know that if I let's just say I text you tonight, I'm like, hey Mike, I just can't make it tomorrow. Like I'm really like dealing with whatever it is. I would get zero resistance from you at all.
Yeah.
Because you also, I think, trust that if I were to say something like that,
it's pretty serious.
It's because it's gone. I've exhausted every other opportunity. Like I just need to get some time alone. And you've done the same thing. You've gone through difficult times in your life, right? There's been different times where, maybe we've lost relationships or different things like that were really challenging. And like, that's real life.
Yeah.
And so I remember there's days too where I'm like, dude, I got your meetings. Don't worry about it. Like send me the notes. I got it. Like we'll take care of it. That to me has been, probably top 5 of importance is just knowing that you have somebody to support you. And you're just the knowing that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Can be a significant pro.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't, like you said, I can't imagine going through some of this stuff alone. I mean, and even when it comes to the point of like, just losing employees or having a bad experience or a bad review or a bad client or like any of the negative parts, it just is, it's really difficult because if you're by yourself, like, how do I handle this? And you may just, your emotions might get in the way, but you need somebody who's on the other side who may be able to give you some more insight. That's like, hey, it's not, look at the silver lining.
Yeah. There's a communication from a client that one of us might think is really abrasive or difficult. And the other one reads it like, it's not really like, we're too emotionally involved, right? Like we're not appropriately detached from the outcome, right?
Exactly.
Like we're too invested into the outcome. And maybe one of us reads into it and then we get like all butthurt about something. We get our little egos and feelings hurt.
Yeah.
And you might come to me like, Nathan, that's not how I read it at all. Like, that's not what I think they're trying to say. And I'm like, okay, you're right. Like I need to adjust my perspective on this. And having somebody whose perspective you trust that you can share everything with, but that's the right word. You share everything with them and you can receive feedback in like some perspective from them is just wildly helpful.
It is. Yeah. It takes off the blinders a little bit to some extent.
Yeah. I think I probably would have lost more clients on my own than I would with you because you're so good at helping us save clients in customer service. Like I'm not a great customer service person.
Yeah, but I would probably fill our, get 30,000 clients here in a month and then they'll be gone.
They'll be gone, yeah.
And then the month they'll be like, what you sold me something, but nothing's happening. I'm like, oh shit, I did that part too.
I gotta actually make sure the work gets done.
Man. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like we just both play to our strengths. 100%. So I know what I need to do. I think for me, it's just like, I have your back, but if you just give me some time and again, give me a heads up, like, hey, I'm not feeling well. I need you to step up tomorrow. Then, I can step up. But if I know you're going to be there tomorrow, I'm still going to do what I normally do. But I just assume you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, which is what we were doing on the podcast this morning. I was like, you're doing a great job running. So why do I need to run now? But I'm like, I can try and run it. I'm like, no, I can't. I need
like,
some.
I'll just continue to be a guest.
Yes. I like the guest role a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couple things that separate us, I think, is the fact that one thing I'm learning too is like, I used to just enjoy like the home runs you were talking about before. I would think when we got a home run, it's a fucking home run. And I would celebrate the shit out of that. And then I remember you saying, Mike, you did your fucking job. Congratulations. You've got a client. And I'm like, how dare you downplay that? Like I worked hard for this client. Right. But if I didn't have that insight on it, you're right. I would have walked into that meeting differently, or I would have handled it differently. But now, once you told me that for the first time, I was like, oh, you're right. It is my job, and I will celebrate the win still, but nothing's going to change. I just still got to just do the job.
Yeah.
So now when I go into, it helped me with that perspective, because now when I go into client meetings, I'm like, you taught me it's okay to not be a good fit for everyone.
Right.
Because I originally wanted to be like, I hated losing somebody because I felt like it took it really personally. But you're like, it's okay because things aren't just, they just may not be a good fit, but I would take it personally before. And now because of you and teaching me that aspect of it with your mindset, it's helped me grow as a person and in sales, just not taking, like being more confident. Like, this is the price. This is who we are. I'm in control. If we're not a good
fit, interviewing them as much as they're interviewing us.
Exactly. So, and then another thing you've done a really good job on coaching me on was like, I remember I like being, if you don't know, I like being center of attention sometimes. I like the spotlight. So when originally, like I remember this just happened recently. When I do classes for real estate brokerages, I would go on I would get a high on after an hour, or I do 45 minutes to an hour. And then typically towards the end, I'd open it up for Q&A. And because we go through a lot of great information and a lot of questions come up at the end, obviously. And I would take that, I would be like, hey, you guys can leave if you want to, or you can stay. And then when they stayed, I was like, standing ovation, baby. All right, I'm killing it. Hey. I'm feeling myself. All right, hey. Cue the music. I'm feeling myself by Mac Dre, right? So I was loving that. So I would keep going, and I'd go over like half an hour, and I would report back to me like, dude, I fucking crushed that class. Yeah. We went half an hour over on because they didn't want to leave. It was so fucking good. And then you're like, so you gave them half an hour free of your time that could have been consulting
times 20.
Yeah. So how many of those people just got the free information?
You gave 10 hours.
Yeah.
Of work away.
So I didn't think about that at all. So like your business mind helps me make shifts. And now I also realize you get just as much of a high from doing such a good class, but then leaving them wanting to have more than just giving them everything.
Yeah, isn't that strange?
Yeah, because then they're like, I want more. And it's like, I still get that feeling of like, I'm that important because you want more, right. But I'm not giving it away. Now I'm like, if you want more, now we got to transact in the next side. So I just, again, you've shifted my way of thinking, which is, again, if I didn't have you as a business partner, I might just be doing 3-hour classes. It's a normal thing, Yeah. So it's like, I didn't think about that. And then, the other thing too.
To bill anybody.
Yeah, exactly. No one would be billed. They'd just be giving free information everywhere, not making a dime. So you're helping me structure things as a business. Another thing you've done really well is just making me think more about money and, again, the transactions of business, what's going in and out. I like to, which is why we survived so well through COVID, was I didn't care about how much money we were making. I just wanted to just keep doing what I need to do, which was bring people in. Yep. And I would just trust the money that came in would be delegated appropriately based on what you're telling me we can and cannot spend. But that's also, if I didn't have you as a business partner, I would have no idea where we're at with how to read the profit and loss statement correctly to grow our business to a certain level. So why it's so important to have one of the biggest pros of having a business partner that is great at my weaknesses is you just help me understand how to run the business and grow the business and look at the business in a different light that I didn't have before. If you weren't my business partner and you were just a friend telling me that, to your point, I may not have taken that data or what you were telling me
probably not
to heart as much, because I'm like, you're not fucking in the trenches with me, going through this shit. Like, you don't know, even if you did know, but not because you've gone through this shit with me. I trust you so goddamn much that it's like, whatever you say, I will take that always and review it very, take your word at its word, at its value. Yeah. Which is high, super high.
Usually.
On weekends.
So
tell me, from your perspective though, where was it in our partnership that you can relate a couple things that I have changed your views on?
You are very good at helping me learn how to celebrate the small wins, because I'm not naturally good at that. To your point, like you said it earlier, like we used to joke about that a lot. Like you'd come in all excited. I'm like, I don't even understand why you're excited. Like I get that that's good. Like I'm glad that we have money coming in. And I'm like, but what the fuck else would you be doing?
Yeah.
Like that's the job. Like, so that's a pretty harsh perspective.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it is. And, but that is genuinely how it felt for me. It was like, well, no shit, you got a sales. You're a good salesman. Like, yeah. I don't know. And so we even went to like a conference, and there was a class on like learning how to celebrate. And you're like, you are going to this class. You're going to this class. And I was like,
celebrate the wins.
I was like, God damn it. Yeah. So it was a celebrate the wins class. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go to this. And so having that perspective of like, listen, just because you don't need it doesn't mean other people don't need it.
Yeah.
Like just because you don't need the affirmation, and like people are like, hey, great job staying on budget this month. Nobody's ever asked or complimented me on staying on budget ever once in the history of our company.
Amy might have once.
Doubtful. She doesn't even look. She doesn't even know what it is.
Yeah.
And so it was like one of those things that's like, for me, it's not something that I value. So it's not something that I would seek to put as a part of like my leadership or like what my role is in the employee's life or in our client's life. I think I've become much more encouraging, much more empathetic, and also much more aware, and try to give like I try to acknowledge more wins that to me historically would not be wins, but now I'm acknowledging them as wins.
Yeah.
So I think you've helped me do that tremendously. And I mean, that is just that's a big step. I would say that you help me humanize the business.
Yeah. That's a good word.
Yeah. I can get a little analytical if people don't know me. There's moments where I can get fiercely analytical.
Yeah.
And which is strange because by nature, I'm not an analytical person. By nature, I'm a creative person. who's learned how to be analytical as a way of processing information.
Yeah.
Because it's just what works for my brain. And so sometimes everything can turn into a data point.
Yeah.
And that's not helpful because the business isn't data. The business produces data, but the business is humans.
Correct.
And so being able to humanize that process, I think, has been really helpful for me. I think that's definitely something that being in business with you is not just helped me in business, but I think it's helped me in pretty much every relationship that I have.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple of times I remember, like, I know from your perspective, you've helped me and I've helped you on multiple emails where it was the client, you're just like, well, just if they want to go, let the client go. But I'm like, no, we got to do it. We got to, and in my head, I feel like we need to humanize it a little more and say, like, hey, just kind of like fall on the sword a bit and this kind of things. When in reality, we didn't need to do that. Right. It would have been fine regardless. But for me, it's like, I just want to add
how
that.
You sleep at night.
Yeah. It's just, I felt like I need to do it, but I know nothing would have shifted.
What people don't know about you is that you're very sensitive.
Yeah.
Like you really are. And not like in a negative way, like in a really positive way. You're very aware of like how people are feeling towards you and you want them to feel a certain way towards you.
Yeah.
And if something's going to end, a business relationship is going to end, you want that to go a particular way.
Yeah.
I do too, but not nearly as much.
Yeah.
Like I care about what people think about us to a large degree. I just don't care enough to have it impact all of my decisions.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm much more like, I don't think you've let a single employee go.
No, I'm not good at that.
Yeah, I think I've had to fire all the employees that we've had to fire or let go or deal with all those conversations. You've dealt with a lot of clients, but I think I've probably dealt with more when it comes to them leaving.
Yeah, we did talk about that just offline, that you are better at with the employee aspect, and I'm not, because I'm better at the client aspect of letting people go versus it's really weird because to me it's like if we're letting an employee go, in my head it's like usually it's like if they fucked up, it's like I have no problem saying you screwed up, like get out. And for you it's the same way. And the client's like, if the client's being a bad client, get them out, kind of thing.
If it's not a good relationship, just end it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you feel really confident that you really want to try to nurture the client relationships, and I want to nurture the employee relationships.
Exactly. You're like, we need to let them know, like, here's the data, what's going on. I'm like, no, they just let them go. They'll find a new job, kind of thing. And I know it's kind of harsh too, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's weird how we see that thing. We see it very similarly, but different groups. That is strange.
Yeah, it is odd. I don't really know why we're that way. It's just how it works. Yeah,
it's worked out well.
Yeah, it has worked out well. So what do you think is the greatest con of having a business partner? I know we've kind of touched on things a little bit here and there, but what do you think is like the greatest con of having a business partner?
It's not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's a con. It's just, you have somebody else's life in their hands. Yeah. And that is the biggest strain on anything. It's not every decision you make is, you have to think about them as well. And it's hard sometimes to do that because, it just might not be in the right mindset for it.
Right.
Or unconditional is the word I want to say, but I don't want to sound so like fruity and say unconditional love, but it's like unconditional trust and unconditional, it's just, dude, you literally have to just let yourself go to this person. Yeah. It's like, I'm giving myself to you. I don't know how to make it sound not so cheesy, but
I receive you, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. I'm giving you my all. Receive it, absorb it.
Some real awkward things in this
exactly. Podcast. Absorb it, take it, and then just hold it and don't break it. And it's just very, it's not a con. It's just very, if you go into business, somebody you have to realize that is happening.
Yeah.
Which is why we highly suggest when we talk to other business owners about thinking about bringing in a partner.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not, if it's just money, try and find any other way.
Yeah. Don't give up equity if you don't have to.
Do not give up equity, not take their money. If it's like, you need them to be all in like, if they're going to be a part of the business, an actual company owner, you have to be so goddamn sure that this is a marriage.
Right.
Like, you are willing to ride or die with this person until the end of time.
Yep.
So, I mean, you could sell the business, you could do other things with the business, but in that meantime, you were riding with that person all in.
Yeah.
So that would be the scariest thing. And I would say the biggest, I wouldn't even say con, I like the cons aspect. It's like, it's the scariest thing about being in business.
Yeah.
Like I would say it's not even pros and cons. It's what is the scariest part about being in business with someone, and what is the joyous part about being in business with someone.
Right.
Like, celebrating those fucking wins are great. Reflecting together are great.
There's days every year we go and we celebrate our anniversary
together. Yeah,
we do. And we go to a really nice steakhouse. We go to the cigar lounge. Yep. We have a cigar. We have a steak. And we look back, and this is something that you've really helped me with. And we look back and we're like, we start actually talking through what happened the last year.
Yeah.
And really consider it. And there's so much stuff we forget about. It's like, oh yeah, that was a really big deal at the moment. And we completely forgot about it 6 months later.
Correct.
Or, particular situations. And so it's really good to go back and reflect and have somebody that you can, do that with. I would recommend people do that even if they don't have a business partner. Find somebody, their spouse, or, maybe a boyfriend or girlfriend, or maybe like an employee that's really trustworthy, or maybe an executive or something like that, and find a way to celebrate the fact that you've made it another year.
Yeah,
like that's a big deal in business. Like the moment we take that for granted, we're gonna lose.
Agreed. Yeah, and it's celebrating the wins. And then seeing how far you come. For both of us, I think it's hard to celebrate. For you, it's hard to celebrate. I think you mentioned it's hard to celebrate the wins for you.
Yeah.
For me, it's hard to slow down.
Yeah.
Like if I slow down, I've caught myself. I mean, I've done it. I'm just saying, if I slow down, I know my default, which is complacency. So if I take time to think too much and reflect and be like, I feel like I get complacent. Like if I'm too proud of myself, I'm like, okay, well, I made it this far. I'm better than like 99% the 99% statistic.
Because 1%.
Yeah, I'm the 1%er. I've gone this shit. I've done this shit for 4 years. And I feel like it's almost like you're top dog and no one can take you down. But that's when you're most vulnerable, because then everyone sees that weakness. So I don't like taking time to reflect as much. And even though I do now, because I think the first time you told me to do that was it was my birthday last year.
Yeah, that's right. And you went to go to the waterfall.
Yeah. So I went to go on a journey to go to a couple of waterfalls I've always wanted to see that are about 7 hours away, driving wise. And I ended up in the hot springs, Umpqua Hot Springs actually. And it was like on a Thursday. This is part about being in business I love too. Is I could go on a Thursday when everyone else is working and at school or whatever. So I had the whole hot springs myself, and I could just relax and really think like, damn, we really have come a long way.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to understand that. But as you mentioned, I'm not sure what podcast it was. We did so many back to back, but it was one where you're saying, you can celebrate the wins. But for me, it's like you celebrate the wins for 24 hours and you celebrate the fails, or you don't celebrate the fails, but you go through failures 24 hours, then you got to fucking move on.
Move on.
Right.
So take what you can and move the fuck on from the wins and the successes and the failures.
Exactly. Totally. And we see that in entrepreneurs, especially in real estate agents. They'll sell their first $7 million home,
and then they're gone for 6 months.
Yeah, you don't see them for 6 months.
But they got a new car.
They got the new car. They're fucking on the boats. They're in Vegas. They're pissing their money away, having the best time because they're celebrating that win for so long because they hit a home run, and they're just gonna milk it out, and then they forget that the business stopped because they are typically the only business and don't have a business partner to pull them back in and say, bro, we got to get this shit back on track.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been. You get 24 hours to celebrate the win. Nathan may celebrate differently than I do. I may pop the bottle of champagne. Nathan may enjoy a nice, time with his girlfriend and go out and get a dinner and be like, life's
I might go golfing by myself.
Yes.
That sounds terrible. I'm like, that sounds like the best 4 hours ever.
Exactly. So we celebrate our own ways, but then we got to remember, get back into the business. It was not a home run. It was just a nice win. We'll celebrate that because maybe we're going after that client for 4 or 5 years, or it was a bit more abnormal client than not. But then bills keep coming up. Payroll still needs to be done. We got to keep it going. Same thing when something goes wrong.
It never ends. Like, because in our business, as long as somebody swipes a card, we have work to do.
Correct. Transactions.
It just never stops ever. Yeah. There's literally, if you just take our clients, it's thousands a day.
Yep.
Thousands of transactions every day. Yep. So it just becomes one of those things that it is important to celebrate and the wins and acknowledge the failures in a limited amount of time.
Acknowledgement was what I was looking for.
Yeah. You can only do it for a limited amount of time. Do you remember the show Lost?
I do, but I never watched it.
Okay, so the show Lost opens. It's so old. There's no spoilers. The show opens with a massive plane wreck. It's crazy on this beach. It's like everybody's just losing it.
Yeah.
Well, there's this guy who's all just jacked up, got a big cut on the back of it, and he asked this girl to sew him up, and like he puts some like little vodka bottle, puts it on there, and like to kind of clean it up, and then he takes a little swig himself.
Yeah,
and asked her to clean it up, and she couldn't do it. She was so scared. And he's a surgeon. He talks the story about how he was doing a surgery and really he ruptured like a nerve sac or something, and he got so terrified because he's like, I'm about to ruin this kid's life, everything. He goes, and I decided I would let the fear take over. And he goes, I think he said I let it take over for 5 seconds. So I just started counting 1, 2, 3. He's like, just let it consume you. And then just let it go and move on. And if that could be a superpower, I'd want it.
Yeah.
It's like, I've learned recently that, humans, we keep trauma and struggle in our physical bodies.
Yes.
It's really strange. I don't know why we do that. It's just how we do it. We're one of the very few people, like species, that does that. Take like an antelope who got attacked by a lion and escaped. The amount of adrenaline is like through the roof. The trauma is, it's very traumatizing. Like that thing had my foot was in its mouth. You know, crazy, like life or death, like real legitimate trauma.
Yeah.
And what you'll find out is once the dust settles and maybe they're able to get away, they will all have a major shake and they'll just shake their whole body and then they move on like nothing fucking happened. They are able to release the trauma physically, where humans put the trauma inside of our body and we don't really think about how to get it out. And so I think for us, sometimes it's a matter of, you got to give it a timeline, whether it's good or bad, because you can't get stuck in those spots. You have to stay focused and keep going.
Yeah.
And so an ability to go acknowledge it, feel all of it that you can.
Yeah.
There's going to be some really joyful days and some really sad days and really frustrating days. And the point is that you take what you can from it, and then you got to find a way to just mentally get through it and go on. The way that I do that is because you recognize that there are things to do today, there's missions, and a priority, like we talk about this all the time. A priority is only a priority if it changes what you do.
Correct.
So if my priority is the business, and my priority is my mental health, and my priority is my physical health, and my priority is my financial health, and all those things, I actually have to change the things that I do to acknowledge and to validate that is my priority.
Yeah.
So if I don't do that, and I'm saying, then my priority is to stay stuck. My priorities are actually to stay upset, or to stay in la la land, to think that like just everything's going to magically be okay forever now. And if that's the case, that feeling is going to get stuck in our system and we will never function at an optimal level.
Yeah. I agree. I like that now. I love that analogy. Like, you let it consume you for 5 seconds and then you move on.
Yeah, just give it like, because what happens? I think one of the reasons people don't process the trauma is they don't acknowledge it.
Yeah,
they don't really accept the fact that something bad happened.
Yeah.
Listen, we've messed some things up with clients. That is how it goes. We have made absolute mistakes, and some of those mistakes have hurt people. I know it sounds crazy that somebody's going to actually say that, but like, well, big fucking deal. Like, it's like, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
It's nothing intentional. It's nothing on purpose. All of them were legitimate mistakes.
Yeah.
It wasn't something anybody did maliciously. And at the same time, you have to acknowledge it, be like, man, that really sucks. Be sad for that person almost even, or like acknowledge the fact that you did something wrong. And then you have to just own it and move on.
Yeah.
And I think having a business partner helps with that.
I agree.
I really do, because it keeps you like, hey, dude, we got shit to do today.
Yep.
Like get back on your game. And we've both had conversations with each other where it's like, hey, dude, time to step back up. Like, you've had your time. Like, time to get back in the game. Like, let's go. We've both done that to each other. And I think that's been wonderfully helpful.
Yeah, it's helpful because of the fact that we both have, one failure or one issue that comes up may be stronger felt by you than it would be for me.
Right.
And if we didn't have the business partner, that day of letting it go might turn into a week unintentionally, because or a month, because it really did affect you.
Yeah.
Versus I can see the effect on you, but I know that I need to pull you back out.
Right.
Versus you do the same thing for me. I'm like, no, this is the end of the, like, I'm just not feeling like, dude, I need you here. And I need. Yeah.
So what I would tell people is, if you're a single owner, you're a solopreneur.
Yeah.
What I would really encourage people to do, if they're not going to get a business partner, they should get a part of some sort of, executive level coaching group. Do something where they can have an honest conversation, get people into their business. Because if you are a person who you own your own business, you're not going to give up equity, you're not going to have a business partner, you still need to find resources, relationships that understand from at least a philosophical level of what you're going through, so you can have some what's the word I'm looking for?
Conception?
No, it's like almost like a comfort. Like, there's some sort of like a comfort that provides you, knowing that somebody else understands what you're going through and that you're not alone. And that the fact is that other people have gone through this too, and they can help you, and they can be a resource for you, and they can be helpful, and they can get you through bad times, and they can help get you through seasons that you might not get through on your own.
Yeah.
So isolation is probably one of the greatest traps of an entrepreneur, is to isolate and get in this opinion that somehow you're the only person going through this stuff.
Agreed.
And so for those people who do have a business, they're not going to get a business partner. I strongly encourage them to get a part of a group, be a part of something, search out another business owner that you respect.
Yeah.
Like, build your own fucking network. It's why you're an entrepreneur. You can do it. Like, you can find the people that can help. You can find the people. If you are going to end up being a person who is going to have a business partner, vet them. Like, if this cannot just be somebody, I just really feel this strongly. If you're getting a business partner just because you want their money, it's going to end badly.
I agree.
I just at the end of the day, they're going to ask for a lot and give a little, and that's appropriate. They're the person with the money.
Yeah.
But that's the relationship that they're agreeing to. And I would like them to have something better than that.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
And on those two notes too.
Yeah. Let's finish up too. I think we're good.
Yeah. So if you are a solo entrepreneur and you're, like you said, you need to surround yourself with the right people.
Right.
I mean, it's like the oldest quote in the world, which is, you hang out with 4 broke people, you'll be the 5th. You hang out with 4 rich people, you'll be the 5th. And if you don't have those people, because a lot of people don't, right? They're the one person of their group that wants something more, and they don't have those people. Because of social media, you can create that group on your phone.
A priority is only a priority if it changes what you do. That includes who you hang out with.
And there's Discords that you can be a part of.
Totally.
And even if you don't want to communicate with this on Discord, I mean, like, going back to the other podcast where it was like the grit and like how you kept going, it was because I'd listen to those motivational videos every fucking morning. Yeah. I would listen to the guys who have made it, who have done it, and they're talking to me in the style I need to be talked to. So for you, if you're an entrepreneur who doesn't have a business partner, doesn't want a business partner, and aren't around a group of friends that you can hang out with like that, then change your social media to make it where you are doing nothing but listening and following all these people who have made it, motivating you, giving you ideas, and consume the fuck out of that, because that will be your new friend. And then you will start making connections in the business world, and then you start making new friendships, and you just spread your wings and go a different direction. You don't hate the people you're hanging out with. You can still hang out with them when you want to go watch football or something like that, or whatever the common denominator was. But you have another group of friends that you're outgrowing and you can grow into.
Yeah, it's such a weird feeling.
It is, but it's. I mean, a lot of people talk about it. It's like, you just outgrow your friendship. You can't let them. Their way of how they take you leaving, you cannot take it personally.
Yeah, it really doesn't have anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's their own perspective of themselves and how they're projecting it on you. That's so interesting.
Agreed. Yeah, and then if you're going to be a business partner and go into the business partner, like you said, vet the hell out of them. And again, it's like a freaking relationship, dude. Honestly, like, I would almost say, like, travel with them.
Travel with them one time. Yeah. Go on a weekend trip and see how it goes. Yeah. See if you really enjoy each other.
I mean, that's how they say, well, you test it with a relationship, right? Like, so traveling together, it's like, because things happen all the time. Planes get delayed. You have to choose what you want to do that day.
Stressful situations.
Exactly. You want, like, where you go to that day, what's your itinerary, like, what kind of style, what kind of person are they? Which is why a lot of people like take people golfing, right? It's like, they want to see.
Absolutely. Yep. Are you going to cheat?
Yeah. Are you going to move the ball a bit?
Because golf is a unique sport in that way, where all the ancillary stuff about golf, like the etiquette of golf, matters. It matters tremendously. So how do they dress? When do they show up? What's the routine like? Are they prepared? What do they talk about? In the first 3 holes, are we getting drunk?
Yeah.
In the first 3 holes, did I hear anything bad about their spouse? Dude, I'm telling you what, man, if you go golfing and you start talking to these dudes and you're like thinking about getting a business partnership and they say anything negative about their family, you got to go.
Agreed.
It's a major red flag, right? Especially about their spouse. Like, no go. One of the best green flags for me with anybody, friends, business, whatever, is how they talk about the people that they're closest with.
Yeah.
Because how are they going to talk about you?
Agreed.
I mean, the moment you're not around, you know exactly how they're going to talk about you immediately. So I've read stories about stuff like this where, like, people have gone golfing and they're like, and this one story, I can't remember where I read it, but this one story, the wife after the golf told her husband, do not go in business with that man. And he's like, why? We had a great time. She goes, because what you didn't see was that every time he was just a little bit off the fairway, he kicked his ball or he improved his position. He always did something sneaky to make himself look better. And that is like huge no-go in golf. Like, you just don't do it. Like, you got to play the ball where you hit it. Yeah. Like, unless there's specific, like, winter rules or something weird, but like, that's the etiquette matters. Like, you're a cheater.
Yeah.
Like, and so if you're willing to risk it for something so dumb, like a golf game.
Yeah.
Then if it really comes to our money and life and death, and like we're really going out in this, and you're going to take my money and we're going to go build this thing together, but you'd be willing to cheat by moving a golf ball, what would you do with millions of dollars?
Exactly. And you and I proved that. I mean, like, even though you and I have been together since 2017, we didn't go into business till 2019. So we had 2 years.
We knew each other very well.
We had 2 years of data between me, being on your team, to stepping down from management, to just doing us two together, going to a different brokerage, and then having the idea of it. And like, you just saw, who I am and what I am. And we just realized we're a good fit. Like, we had 2 years of data before we jumped into the business together. So even though even though we knew each other for, 7 years, 2 years of it was collecting data to make sure we're a good fit. And then the rest of it, we just bet on each other. So.
Well, Mike, it's been great to have you on.
It's been great to be on your podcast, Nathan. Thank you so much for having me. It's great. Can't wait to put this on your social media channels.
Why don't we make you a YouTube channel?
Yeah, just if you want to follow us, go subscribe. Nathan Gans. Nathan Gans, #1. Northwest Mirror website. Thank you, Nathan, for having me on your podcast, and thank you for being a part of my journey.
What a pleasure for you to be on my podcast.
I'm glad everyone could, see us talk and work through our partnership's beautiful dynamic that we've grown to.
In all seriousness, correction received. My apologies.
All good.
And I really hope that people that are listening to this are really getting something out of it. I really hope that they're reconsidering or thinking through their relationships with their business partner. Maybe it's not where they want it to be. I would encourage them to really critically think about steps that they could take to improve their relationship with their business partner, whether that's like, I'll give you some example. Mine and Mike's life has been very, very busy. Like, our lives have been crazy. Right. And so like, I texted you last week. I was like, hey dude, like, I feel like we need a person. Like, would you want to go like watch Monday Night Football with me? We had to plan it 2 weeks out just to like watch a football game. But I was like, this is important to me. I'm feeling like we're getting a little bit disconnected. And not everything can just be about business. So maybe somebody who's listening, they need to go like, hey, maybe like we need to go do something we used to enjoy. Like we used to have a lot of fun together, and then we got into business, and then we had families and kids or whatever it is. And like life just gets fucking busy. Well, you got to remember that this is a really important relationship, and it can't just be one that's just a legal, like, I mean, nobody wants to be in a loveless marriage. That's not fun. That's not.
Are you asking me what I'm thinking? You're asking me, Nathan, on Monday?
Absolutely not.
A loveless marriage, and you're calling me up to your place. Got it. I noticed, received, my friend.
I just want the food to be good. So I want everybody to go to my house.
Chicken wings and pizza. I'm down for that. Chicken wings, pizza, and football. Let's fucking make it happen.
Let's do it, buddy.
I'm excited. Anyway, thank you again for coming on our podcast.
It is good, man.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the pros and cons of having a business partner, I hope people are beginning to see
the other side. We end that so well every time. On par with that shit.